I remember back in the 80s when I created my first web page, I did it with Notepad and HTML. Well, the world has changed a lot since then, and now it's just a few clicks of a button to very easily create and edit web pages, especially in a SharePoint environment. Let's begin. Having a website with only a single page that has all the information for that site is a lot like having a bag of marbles with only a single marble. It's very likely that a website is going to have lots of different pages. So far in our journey, we have our Acme Inc. site. And as part of using the team template, which we did in our previous nugget, we've got the default page for that site. So if we wanted to add additional pages, for example, we could have page 2 and page 3, etc. As part of that site, we could create and add those pages. So Acme is our top level or our root site in our site collection, and our site collection can have lots of additional sites as well. And I want to give you this big overview so we're putting everything in context. So with Acme Inc. as the root site, we could have other sub-sites, one for human resources, one for engineering, one for sales. So this is our top level or root site in this site collection. We have individual pages as part of each of the sites. So within the site collection, we could have sub-sites for HR, a sub-site for engineering, and a sub-site for sales. And then each of these sub-sites could also have multiple pages. So for example, HR might have page 2 and page 3, and engineering could have its own page 2 and page 3, and same for sales. And let me go ahead and highlight those in the same color. So we're going to have, for example, a page for the home page for HR sub-site, and then a page 2 and a page 3. And they don't have to be called, of course, page 2 or page 3, but I'm doing that just for descriptive purposes. And that way, when you and I look at these, if we label them that way, we can have a good understanding of where they fit. Now, the question that could come up, and it may have come up for you already, is do we have to have like a top level site and then sub-sites, or couldn't we just have one big site and lots of separate pages? For example, we could have separate pages for HR and separate pages for engineering and separate pages for sales and just have one top level site. And the answer is absolutely yes. It depends on how you want to organize it and how you want to set it up. And a big factor of that might be if you want separate administration. For example, if we chose that we wanted a separate group of people in HR to be responsible for the administration and management of the entire HR pages by making it a separate sub-site, the boundaries are clearer and easier to set up regarding administration and control by making it a sub-site with its respective pages compared to just having the HR department have separate pages as part of the top level or root site. So in this nugget, what I'd like to do is walk you through the very simple and easy process of adding an additional web page to an existing site. And because we already have Acme Inc. available as part of our lab, let's go ahead and create page 2 of the Acme Inc. website. Now, in deciding on creating a web page for one of our sites inside of SharePoint, we have several options. And one of our options is called a Wiki web page. And a Wiki web page is designed to be a really simple and easy way to get a new page added in a SharePoint site. And part of the reason that it's so darn easy is that working with a Wiki page is a lot like working with a Microsoft Word document. And as such, we can add almost any type of content we want to. For example, we can put freeform text, we can add tables, hyperlinks, images, and more. So in the demonstration, I'll walk you through where we would go to add it. And as you and I will see here in just a moment, there's more than one way to add a web page. There's a couple ways of going about it. And once you know what the options are, you can use the method that feels most comfortable and natural to you. And then once we've added the new web page, we'll do some simple examples of how we could edit and add content to that page. And I would encourage you, as we go through this video initially, go ahead and watch it the first time. And then go through it again when you're sitting at it from a computer and actually do the hands-on practice with the link over to the right for the hands-on lab. So you can not only see what we're doing, but also practice and experience it. So in the lab environment, we're going to select our Windows 10 machine. Over here on the left, we'll click here on the desktop, and we'll log on as Bob with our lab password of nugget!23 with a capital N. And we'll press enter to log on. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring that full screen so we can see more of the details on the virtual machine's desktop. Let's begin by logging on to the top level website for Acme Incorporated. And to do that in this demonstration, let's go ahead and use the Chrome browser. There's a shortcut for it here in the taskbar. And let's go to the IP address of our SharePoint server, which is 192.168.1.216, and we'll press enter. It'll be using the default port of 80, and listening on that port is our SharePoint service. And we'll log on as administrator, again with our lab password of nugget !23 with a capital N at the beginning, and press enter to log on. And seeing how I just brought this lab up from our lab environment, it's taking just a few moments to go ahead and crank out that initial web page for us. So here is our Acme Inc. root site, our top level site of our site collection that we created in our previous nugget. Now our objective is to add a new web page to this site, and to add a new wiki web page, we can click on this gear icon in the upper right hand corner area, and from the drop down list we can go ahead and select add a page, and that will create a wiki web page for us. Another way of adding a wiki web page would be to go over to the quick launch bar over here on the left and go to Site Contents. And with Site Contents selected, over here on the right, we can go to Site Pages and select that. And what this is just a library of the documents, or the pages, if you will, that are making up our current website for Acme Inc. We have the home page, which we got because we used the team template, and we also have a page called How to Use This Library, which is given to us by default as a help page. So from the Site Pages selection, we could go ahead and click on New. And here it would ask for the new page name, and that would be yet another way of creating a new wiki web page. But most likely, the simplest way of creating a new wiki web page is using the gear icon and just clicking Add a Page, and that's going to create a new wiki web page for us as part of Acme Inc. So we'll go ahead and click on Add Page from the drop down from the gear icon. And let's call this Page 2 of Acme Inc. top level site. That way when we see it, we'll know, oh, this is an additional page for the Acme Inc. top level site. And we'll click on the Create button to create this new page. Now, by default, this puts us into edit mode for this wiki page. So up here on the ribbon, we have the tab of Format Text, which we're put into by default. And this ribbon looks very similar to the ribbon we'd have with Microsoft Word if we were editing a Word document. And then we have Save icons here over on the left. And over on the top right, we have a save icon as well. So let's add some text. And for content, we'll just say this is the content for page 2 of the Acme Inc. top level site. And then we can do some formatting if we want to. So we'll go ahead and highlight all that text. And let's go ahead and use heading 1. And with that still highlighted, we can also bold the font. So we'll click on the bold icon. And we can change the size if we wanted to make it even bigger. And then to save this page, we'll simply click on the save icon to save it. Now, if we wanted to go back and edit this page 2 of Acme Inc. top level site, we could click on the Page tab over here in the upper left-hand corner and click on Edit here, or up in the upper right, we have the Edit option as well. Either way is great. They'll both take us to the Edit option for this wiki page. So we'll click on Edit, and let's add an image. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cursor where I want that image added. We'll click on the Insert tab, and then we have several options, and let's go ahead and select Picture. And we'll select from the drop-down Picture from Computer. Now that's going to be from the Windows 10 virtual machine that we're using in this lab environment. So we'll click on Choose File to choose a file. And let's click on this PC, and we'll click on the C drive, and let's go ahead and do a search. And let's do a search for *.jpg and press enter. That'll give us a nice assortment of images to choose from. And let's go ahead and grab this one right here. It looks like a picture of a gentleman. It's titled Picture. So with that selected, the one called Picture, let's click on Open. By default, it's going to put this picture in the destination library called Site Assets. So if we wanted to change that and we wanted to put this picture of that guy in the Documents destination library, we could go ahead and select Documents from here and it would put it there. I'm going to leave it as the default of Site Assets and click on OK. So it adds the picture of that gentleman. He looks pretty happy, and assuming that's how we want it, I'll go ahead and simply click on Save to save this page. So as part of our Acme Inc. top level site, we have the main page for it, and we also have this page 2. And as part of page 2, we have this text and this graphic. And if we wanted to see the contents for this page, over here in the quick launch bar on the left, we could click on Site Contents. So let's go ahead and click on Site Contents. And then from the selection of lists, libraries, and other apps, let's go ahead and click on Site Pages. And you'll notice now we have the home page for Acme Incorporated. We have the default help that was added earlier as well, and we also now have our new page 2 that we just added a few moments ago. And to the right, we have the ellipsis. If we right-click on the ellipsis, we have a drop-down with several options. And if we left-click on the ellipsis, it gives us the URL, and we can click on Open right here. If we wanted to go back to the main homepage for Acme Inc., we could go ahead and click on the link here for Acme Inc. root site, and that would take us back to the main page for Acme Inc. In this nugget, you and I have done 3 basic things. We chose to create a new Wiki web page as part of our top-level Acme Inc. website. Secondly, we added some text to that second web page using our keyboard and some of the tools on the ribbon for editing that wiki page. And then third, we added an image as part of that wiki page, and then we saved our work. I encourage you to practice this using the online lab environment that we're providing you as part of your subscription to CBT Nuggets. And the link for that, when you're logged into a PC, is just over to the right to launch the lab that corresponds with this nugget. So I hope you enjoy the hands-on practice, and I look forward to seeing you in the next nugget. Meanwhile, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.